There are so many things going on in this country right now that we need to talk about. Fortunately for us, we have the perfect guest for that. Joining me now in her first cable news interview since taking on her new role, the Biden administration's brand new history-making and amazing press secretary, the great Karine Jean-Pierre. It is so great to see you.
Oh, that's so kind, Joy. Thank you.
We both have different hairstyles, so.
I know. Since the last time we saw each other, this is how it goes.
We got to keep them guessing.
I love it. I love the spring, summer dew.
I love yours as well. Let's get into it. So these January 6 hearings took place today, and I'm quite sure the White House was watching. What is the administration's take on what should be done afterwards? Because obviously this is not this is not a legal proceeding. This is really something that's going to perhaps result in ideas for changing the way our system is to make sure that doesn't happen again. Is there a White House official position on what should be done to stop this happening again?
Well, Joy, let me just first say the president has been very clear about his support for the vital work of this bipartisan select committee on January 6th. He has said over and over again, and we have said that day was one of the darkest days of our democracy. Our democracy was attacked. Our law enforcement officers were attacked. And so he thinks it's really important to make sure that the American people remembers what happens. And also, I would reiterate what Kevin McCarthy said a few days after that attack, that we cannot sweep this under the rug. As far as what happens next, that is up to the Department of Justice. As you know, Joy, one of the major issues that we saw during the last presidency, as you covered very closely and watched very closely, is how much the Department of Justice was politicized. And that is what we saw from the last president. This is a president, President Biden, has been very clear about making sure that we give back the independence of the Department of Justice. That is one of the reasons he selected Attorney General Merrick Garland, because of his loyalty to the Constitution and to the law. And so that is what is important here. But we leave that to the Department of Justice.
Well, we know that one of the reasons that President Biden said that he ran for president, was the Charlottesville racist march and attack there, and the violence that broke out there. We've just recently seen in the state of Idaho a group of white nationalists arrested who were preparing to potentially attack a pride march. This is Pride Month around the country. There is still an extreme threat of white nationalism and white nationalist domestic terrorism in the country. Does the administration feel that the Justice Department has been proactive enough, and that enough is being done, including by DOJ and by lawmakers, to protect the country against this threat?
So, Joy, he has complete confidence in Merrick Garland and the work that he's doing at the Department of Justice. Again, it's an independent agency, and we have to leave that to continue to be independent. And you're right, we have seen an increase of domestic terrorism, white supremacy in this country. It's been reported. We have heard that from the Department of Justice. And when the president, to your point, when the president decided to run, he talked about the soul of the nation. He wrote an article around Charlottesville, and I know we've talked about it many times on your show, AM Joy, which I love and miss, but AM Joy, and that those days afterwards, and we talked about how devastating that was, and he talked about how devastating it was to see what we saw marching in the streets of Charlottesville. So we understand there's still a lot of work to do. We still have a long way to go. He has talked about that, and so he's going to continue to fight the fight. But as it relates to the Department of Justice, they are independent, and we're going to leave it as that. We're not going to do, again, what the last president did by politicizing it.
And I will note that just for our reporting, for our audience, there is reporting now that a lot of the violent intent is shifting from the MAGA cause and the quote-unquote Stop the Steal cause to attacks on LGBT Americans. That's become a fixation. So I know that is something that is of concern around this country. But I want to talk about another concern. And it kind of relates to also what we saw happen in Buffalo, that mass shooting. These anti-woman iterations that we're seeing, not on just on the violent side, but on the legislative side. Roe versus Wade is about to fall. Let me play for you what Senator Elizabeth Warren had to say about what she would like to see the administration do about that.
It starts with making sure that there's more access to medication abortions. Okay. Right now, there are restrictions on the availability of that drug that are not medically necessary, they're politically necessary. Okay, let's get rid of those. Another part that we can make sure is that people who receive Medicaid for their medical care get the full range of services that by law are supposed to be available to them, including choice of provider. And that means enough of these states deciding Planned Parenthood can't operate within their borders. We want the administration to explore what can be done with federal property within the states that are hostile. How about if the federal government looks into the possibility, can they have clinics there?
And I said legislative side, I meant Supreme Court side. Any support inside the White House to do any of the things you just heard?
I don't have anything right now to preview or talk about specifically, as the Senator Warren just laid out, which is someone we truly respect here, and we have worked closely on many issues this past year and a half. Look, this is an issue when it comes to a woman's right to choose, a woman's right to decide when she can start a family. It is an important issue to this White House, is an important issue to this president, is an important issue to the vice president, and we're taking this very seriously. Clearly we all saw the leaked document that came from SCOTUS, and so it's something that we are watching very closely. And the president has, as it relates to women's health care and things that can be done, the president has asked his HHS agency to look at different things that can be done. I can't speak to the specifics of what the senator laid out, but the president believes in codifying Roe v. Wade. He has consistently asked Congress to act, and he's going to continue to speak to that.
Supreme Court decisions are coming out on not just abortion, but guns, religion, climate change. And we know that the wife of one Supreme Court Justice, Clarence Thomas, was deeply and intimately involved in the insurrection. Does the White House believe that the Supreme Court still has credibility?
So, look, I can't speak to those reportings about the Supreme Court justice and their spouse. That is something that SCOTUS, the Supreme Court justice, has to speak to directly. It's not something that I can speak to from here. What I can say is that the president's going to continue to speak out and speak up as it comes to Roe v. Wade. He's going to continue to speak out as it comes to making sure that we really deal with the public health epidemic as we look at gun violence, which is a very it's tearing up our communities, it's tearing up our schools, it's tearing up, in a situation that happened with Buffalo, with the grocery store, which is unbelievable, unfathomable to think about when people are doing things that we do every weekend to go to the grocery store. And so these are the things that the president is making a priority. We have to remember one last thing, is that the president has taken more executive actions on dealing with gun violence and gun reform than any other president at this time of his presidency. And so that shows you how much he's made this a priority and how serious he is about this.
Well, we will have to have you back. Karine Jean-Pierre,
absolutely.
Congratulations again on the new gig. You're doing a great job. And happy Pride. And great to see you. Hopefully I'll see you in person sometime soon. It's great to see you.
Thank you, Joy.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Hopefully I see you in person next time.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.